This information is not supposed to be given to you because it breaks the control of the powers that be over the masses. What if I told you that there is a creation story, the origin of mankind, that predates the Abrahamic religions not by a few thousand years, but by tens of thousands of years? The Bible, both the Old and New Testaments, as well as the Quran, contain this creation story in their own unique ways. But the creation story I am about to share with you breaks the existing paradigm. That is why you are not supposed to know it. Adam, as we know him, was not the first human. To understand this, we have to go deep into the history of human civilization and uncover where it all began. In the book, The 12th Planet by Zecharia Sitchin, a story is told that is paradigm-shattering, to say the least. According to Sitchin, there is a 12th planet known as Nibiru. It orbits a brown dwarf star. This is now accepted by science as a fact, that there is a brown dwarf currently in orbit with our Sun, and this star is being orbited by the 12th planet, Nibiru. So what does this have to do with us? For that, we must dive deep into one of the oldest, if not the oldest, creation stories found on Earth, the Sumerian tablets. I would not have given the Sumerian tablets much weight, but there are now scientific facts, admitted by mainstream science, that give great credibility to the creation story told in these tablets. You may have heard the word Anunnaki before. It is a term used in the Sumerian tablets to describe aliens. To put it simply, it means people from the heavens, those who came from above, or the gods from the heavens. The translations differ slightly in structure and wording, but do not differ in meaning or implication. The Anunnaki are beings who came to Earth from the heavens, and in ancient times, the word heavens was simply used to describe space. Now, Sitchin talks about these beings extensively in the book The 12th Planet, and I will discuss them in depth in a separate video. But here, the focus is on the ancient creation story found in the Sumerian tablets, in which these Anunnaki played the role of gods. I use the word gods with a lowercase g, because these beings have been mistaken by many to be the gods of planet Earth. They are not. These beings came down to Earth for a purpose. That purpose has been speculated on in many different ways, but it is clear from the Sumerian tablets that they were here to mine certain materials. It was a labor of extreme intensity and was taking them a very long time. The brunt of this work was carried out by the working class of the Anunnaki beings, called the Ajiji. Yup, working class. Funny how this concept is still playing out on planet Earth to this day. Anyway, the Ajiji had been laboring hard for a long time and finally had enough. They rebelled against the ruling class, the pantheon of the Anunnaki gods, and demanded assistance in one way or another. This is where the creation story of mankind, as we know it, begins. At the head of the Sumerian Anunnaki pantheon was King Anu, the supreme leader of these beings. He had two sons, Enlil and Enki. These two were present on planet Earth, while Anu ruled from the heavens. Enlil and Enki decided to experiment with the existing humanoids of Earth through genetic modification to create Homo sapiens. Yes, existing humanoids. They didn't create us from scratch. That is why they are not our creators. They masqueraded as gods, but they were beings of flesh and blood. Yet their godliness is still being upheld to this day. I wouldn't have paid much attention to this story, but science now proves that our DNA has mutated or evolved unnaturally. There is a huge evolutionary gap between Homo erectus and Homo sapiens. Here is an excerpt from The 12th Planet by Zecharia Sitchin to help you understand this abnormal evolutionary leap. The real puzzle, however, is not the backwardness of the Bushmen, but our advancement. For it is now recognized that, in the normal course of evolution, man should still be typified by the Bushman, and not by us. It took man some 2 million years to advance in his tool industries. From the use of stones as he found them, to the realization that he could chip and shape stones to better suit his purposes. Why not another 2 million years to learn the use of other materials, and another 10 million years to master mathematics, engineering, and astronomy? Yet here we are, less than 50,000 years from Neanderthal man, landing astronauts on the moon. The obvious question then is this: did we and our Mediterranean ancestors really acquire this advanced civilization on our own? To put it simply, evolution cannot explain the almost out-of-nowhere appearance of Homo sapiens, the so-called modern man. It would have taken us millions of years to evolve from Homo erectus to Homo sapiens by the painfully slow path of natural evolution. Look it up. It is supported by modern science, yet it remains a mystery to modern scientists how Homo sapiens showed up out of nowhere around 200,000 years ago, almost out of thin air, as if someone created them in a lab. This is where it gets interesting. The Sumerian tablets also give accounts of this creation story as having taken place around 200,000 years ago. These records further state that the Anunnaki beings arrived on Earth approximately 450,000 years ago. Coincidence? I don't think so. This is the only story that truly explains the missing link in our so-called, and flawed, theory of evolution. We didn't evolve. We were genetically tampered with. The Garden of Eden? That was the laboratory or controlled zone of ancient times. Yup. The Garden of Eden in the Bible is derived from the Sumerian tablets. Eden predates the biblical account by thousands of years. The Garden of Eden was a zone where genetic modifications were carried out on existing humanoids to create an intelligent race who would mine resources for the Anunnaki. Thus, Adamu was created by mixing the essence of the Anunnaki with that of the existing humanoids to form Homo sapiens. This essence could very well be their genetic material. It explains why we have so much so-called junk DNA, which is not junk at all, but deactivated DNA. It also explains why our chromosome 2 appears to have been spliced and fused, something that is not a natural phenomenon. These DNA anomalies in mankind give tremendous credibility to the creation story found in the Sumerian tablets. And it's funny how the Garden of Eden produced the first thinking man, Adamu, eerily similar to Adam from the mainstream scriptures of the modern world. As I said at the beginning of this video, you were never meant to know this. Why? Because it makes you question the existing systems and religions of this world. And when that happens, the control system over the majority of mankind begins to break. It shows us that we are not alone, and the world governments know this very well. Don't be fooled by their words. They know. Mainstream scientists also know it fully, but they continually deny it so that you remain unaware. If you can rob mankind of their true origin, you can shape them into whatever you want. There is so much information about these beings that I know. Information that would shatter the reality you've been taught and seriously challenge your religious beliefs. So much so that some of you may lash out at me. That's why I will uncover these truths slowly. But if you read the mainstream scriptures in the light of the Sumerian tablets, which predate them by thousands of years, you'll begin to see just how much the mainstream versions fall short, to say the least. It is not my intention to upset anyone. My intention is to reveal those things that, for some reason, you were never supposed to know, and then let you judge for yourself what to believe. Except, of course, if you're bound to the Abrahamic religions. All indigenous and ancient peoples believed they had a link with the stars. They all carry stories of brethren from the heavens. Yet, the mainstream media and many scientists seem almost hell-bent on denying this, because they want to control your perception and suppress your consciousness. Why? So that you never realize that your own divine essence is your salvation and your savior. Take what is said in this video as skeptically as you wish, but do your own research. I have faith that you will come to the same conclusion. The reason I'm not diving too deeply into the details here is because I need to first cover a few general topics about these beings. This is to prepare you for something bigger. The powers that be are about to do something that could put the future of mankind at risk. Just to hint at it, you will begin to see an increase in UFO-related content in the mainstream media. That's because they are preparing us for a new type of control game. When mainstream media pushes a narrative, it's usually a sign that they're about to condition the masses for something. And most of the time, it's rooted in fear-mongering. The goal is to suppress consciousness. A free-thinking human being is considered a threat to the system, and that is unacceptable to those who wish to maintain control. Rising in consciousness is the only real solution to break free from this system, because once your awareness expands, you can see their game clearly and choose not to play.